Just a warning, what we're about to show you and talk about is pretty graphic and it's disturbing. So let me just pause. If you have little ones in the room, get them out right now because I want to show you this picture. The picture is of a bloodied and beaten face of this 15-year-old Palestinian American. It marked the beginning, really, of this conflict that has since killed more than 1,300 people. Tariq Khdeir was visiting family in Jerusalem, including his cousin, when the unthinkable occurred. During this trip, his cousin was brutally murdered, burned alive, a revenge killing by Jewish extremists over the deaths of those 3 Israeli teenagers, a deadly tit-for-tat that led to protests. Khdeir was watching one of the protests when he was attacked by Israeli police, and here it is. His beating was captured on this cell phone video soon after the rockets began to fly. So I'd like to bring in Tariq Khdeir and his mother Suha and their attorney Hassan Shibli, all of whom are joining me from Washington, D.C. So just welcome to all of you. And I am sorry for the loss of your cousin Tariq. I'd like to begin with you, if you can just take me back to that day 4 or so weeks ago. You were just visiting with your cousin Mohammed. I understand you were playing board games. You ran an errand to the bakery. You came back. You saw this house surrounded by police. What happened next?
Well, what happened was, when it was surrounded by police, everyone was confused. People wanted to know, like, where did Muhammad go? What's going to happen to him? We're losing time.
Where did Muhammad go? What happened?
Well, he was kidnapped, and he was taken somewhere, and we were clueless. We didn't know. We didn't have anything. We didn't have any proof or anything. So at that point, we were all really worried about Muhammad.
So at this point, when you arrive at the home, how did you learn that your cousin was tortured and killed?
Well, I learned that he was tortured and killed from, like, the police, because the police actually found out that there was a fire somewhere near Jerusalem, and they found out that they found a body in that fire, and they identified it, and it was Muhammad.
So in the meantime, as you think you're returning back to Muhammad's house to bring him some baked goods from this errand you've run, you see police. At what point did you run from police, jump the fence, and they catch you?
Well, when they grabbed me was later on that day. Okay. I was outside watching everything that was happening outside. I wanted to know what's going to happen to my cousin. Is he going to be okay? Are they going to bring him back? And I was just out there watching until I saw a couple of guys coming from behind me screaming, and behind them I saw soldiers, and then everybody freaked out, and so they started running, and so I started running too, and some people left the alley and some people jumped the fence that was in front of us. So I jumped the fence and I fell, and I ran a little farther. They grabbed me and slammed my face into the floor. Then they started kicking me and punching me after they zip-tied my hands together by my back. So they zip-tied my hands, and I couldn't move whatsoever, and they kept kicking me and punching me in the face until they made me go unconscious.
Suha, as a mother, can you just describe the first time? We showed the image a moment ago, but of your son's face beaten to a pulp. What was that like, seeing your child?
I was in shock. I just didn't know if this was for real or it was a nightmare. Could this be happening? We're on vacation. I never thought something like this could happen. You know, us being free Americans, you know, we never think something like this could happen in America. And then we come on vacation over here to see our family and our friends, and then, you know, this happens. I was in complete shock. But, you know, this happens every day to Palestinians. It was no surprise to my family, because the Palestinians go through this every single day.
But to see your child, and correct me, but you See him at first. I mean, Tariq was sent to jail. He wasn't hospitalized immediately, and you didn't see him until when?
I didn't see him until later on that night, when after his father had gone to the jail and begged the Israeli police to take him to the hospital. And one of the guards secretly told my husband, your son really needs to go and be seen, have some medical attention. So finally they had listened to him and sent him to the hospital, and I somehow got to the hospital that night to give my husband a charger. I didn't even know my son's condition, and my husband took me to the side and he said, listen, your son, don't be surprised and shocked, just, you know, calm down, but you're going to see your son in a state you've never seen him before. He was brutally beaten. And I just stood there. I could not believe what I was hearing. So even the Israeli police officer that was guarding his hospital room door had told me that I couldn't get near him or touch him or even talk to him. And I was just looking at him like I'm his mother, you know? So finally I looked over at him. It was like I wasn't even looking at my son. It was like it was someone else and he was asleep. I thought he was dead. And that's what I was thinking until I, you know, finally saw him up and sitting and awake.
Right. You bring up Israeli police. Let me ask all of you to stand by. I want to continue the story, and also on the other side of the break explain what Israeli police are saying. We'll talk about if this officer has been punished, what kind of charges he faces, and a bigger picture conversation about what we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. Stand by. Quick break. We'll be right back.